We're looking into a picture going around online this month. It claims to show a screenshot of a 2002 episode of The Simpsons that eerily mirrors real-life events.
Vamos a la ciudad más calurosa de Canadá. ¿Qué tal? Soy Bobco.
Hello, I'd like to vote for president, governor, and anything that will take money away from our parks.
From Donald Trump's presidency to smartwatches and even global pandemics, The Simpsons have predicted it all. Or have they? For decades, fans have been stunned by the show's eerie accuracy. But is it true foresight, clever writing, or just coincidence? Today, we reveal the truth behind the most famous and bizarre Simpsons predictions that actually came true, and the ones that didn't. The Trump presidency, from fiction to reality. Back in the year 2000, in an episode titled Bart to the Future, Lisa becomes president and offhandedly mentions that the country is trying to recover from President Trump's term. At the time, it was a wild punchline. Trump hadn't even launched a serious political campaign yet. But in 2016, that joke came full circle when Donald J. Trump became the 45th president of the United States. Was this just a lucky guess? Maybe. But consider the eerily specific nature of the reference, nearly 2 decades in advance. It wasn't a vague allusion to a celebrity president. It named Trump. And later, images of Trump's campaign announcement eerily matched a scene from the show. Him descending an escalator, waving to crowds, with signs in the background almost identical to real life. Coincidence? Possibly. But it's one that shook the internet to its core. Smartwatches and FaceTime. Tech before its time. In 1995, the episode Lisa's Wedding showed Lisa's fiancé speaking into a watch, casually communicating just like we do today with Apple Watches and smart devices. Remember, this was years before Bluetooth headsets or smartwatches were even on the radar. The same episode had a video call scene, predating FaceTime and Zoom by at least 15 years. Back then, video calls were a far-off sci-fi dream. Today, they're just part of work meetings and catching up with grandma. Some argue the writers were just extrapolating technology trends, but let's be real, nobody in '95 thought you'd be chatting on your wristwatch like James Bond at brunch. Disney buying 20th Century Fox. In 1998, Homer is seen outside a studio with a sign that reads, 20th Century Fox, a division of Walt Disney Company. That episode aired over 20 years before Disney actually purchased Fox in a $71 billion deal in 2019. This one had jaws dropping because it was so specific. Yes, Disney was already a powerhouse and mergers were common. But Fox, it was one of Disney's biggest rivals. The prediction wasn't vague. It named the companies and the exact relationship. It's hard to write that off as coincidence when the logo shown in the cartoon was nearly identical to the real-life merger branding. The pandemic warning. Let's talk about margin chains. A 1993 episode where a virus from Asia, dubbed the Osaka flu, sweeps through Springfield after arriving via a shipment of juicers from Japan. People cough in crowds, panic, raid grocery stores for essentials, and overwhelm hospitals. Sound familiar? While it wasn't COVID-19, the parallels were chilling during the 2020 pandemic. The episode even had an angry mob demanding a cure, being misled by a charlatan peddling fake solutions. That was pure 2020 energy. Was it a blueprint? No. But the eerie echoes of reality made people pause and wonder, how did they know? Nobel Prize prediction. Not just smart, but psychic? In a 2010 episode, a scene shows a betting board where characters are placing wagers on the Nobel Prize winner. One of the names, Bengt Holmstrom. In 2016, 6 years later, Holmstrom actually won the Nobel Prize in economics. Now, the show's writers are smart. They do their research. But out of thousands of potential nominees, they happen to flash the correct one on screen? That's more than just educated guessing. That's straight up spooky. Even fans with zero interest in economics were impressed. It showed that either the writers were watching the future, or they had access to a next-level crystal ball. The Siegfried and Roy tiger attack. The 1993 episode, Pringfield, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love Legalized Gambling, featured a scene where 2 flamboyant magicians, parodies of Siegfried and Roy, are attacked by their white tiger during a live show. Fast forward a decade to 2003, and Roy Horn was actually attacked on stage by one of their tigers during a Las Vegas performance, resulting in life-threatening injuries. The prediction wasn't just about the profession, it nailed the type of entertainers, the animal involved, and the fact that it happened on stage. At that point, people started wondering whether The Simpsons had crossed into prophecy. Game of Thrones twist spoiler. Yes, even Game of Thrones wasn't safe from The Simpsons' predictive powers. In a 2017 parody titled The Surfsons, a dragon torches a village, something nearly identical to what Daenerys did in the final season of GOT 2 years later. Now sure, Simpsons has done countless fantasy parodies, but fans point out that the tone, staging, and fiery destruction all mirrored the infamous Mad Queen twist that shocked GOT viewers. Did they just guess? Or did Simpsons writers really know HBO's darkest secret before the rest of us? US curling team wins gold. In 2010, The Simpsons aired an episode called Boy Meets Curl, where Homer and Marge join the US Olympic curling team and win gold against Sweden. In real life, this exact outcome happened 8 years later at the 2018 Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang. Team USA took gold by defeating, you guessed it, Sweden. At the time, Sweden was curling royalty. No one thought the US could beat them, but The Simpsons did. Either that was divine inspiration, or someone at Fox had an inside scoop. Virtual reality, crazy food, and mutation culture. The show didn't just predict big political or technological changes, it nailed subtle cultural ones too. In Lisa's Wedding, the writers imagined the future filled with strange VR tech, mutant hybrid animals, and overly complicated food, like a 3D printed cheeseburger that screams when you bite it. Okay, maybe not screaming food, yet, but think about it. VR is now in living rooms. 3. Deprinted food exists. Genetically modified hybrids are being created in labs. The line between reality and satire is getting blurry. The voting machine glitch. In a 2008 episode, Homer tries to vote for Barack Obama, but the machine registers his vote for John McCain instead. It was funny, until it actually happened for real in 2012, when reports came in that some voters trying to select Obama had their votes switched due to malfunctioning touchscreens. The joke wasn't just about a glitch, it was about exactly the kind of glitch that became headline news just a few years later. For fans, it was another tick in the Simpsons is Magic column. Greece's economic collapse. In 2012, an episode featured a headline on a news ticker reading, "Europe puts Greece on eBay." A couple of years later, Greece really did face a massive debt crisis that nearly led to their exit from the European Union. While the joke was exaggerated for laughs, the core idea, Greece's financial collapse and Europe's panic, was right on the money. Again, The Simpsons wasn't just doing random comedy, they were walking right up to real geopolitical disasters and giving us a preview. Lady Gaga's Super Bowl performance. In 2012, The Simpsons featured Lady Gaga flying over the crowd during a Springfield concert in full glam. 5 years later, in 2017, she pulled off nearly the exact same stunt at the Super Bowl halftime show, suspended in the air, flipping over the crowd, sparkling head to toe. Now you might say Gaga's always been theatrical, but to mirror a cartoon scene so precisely, that's next level strange. Are the writers time travelers? So what gives? Are The Simpsons writers just eerily good at connecting dots? Is it all just coincidence mixed with sharp satire? Or are we dealing with low-key time travelers in the writer's room? Realistically, it's a blend of clever writing, observational brilliance, and a touch of luck. The show's been on for decades. They've written so many scenarios that some are bound to hit the mark. But when you line up these predictions, it's hard not to raise an eyebrow. Whether it's satire or psychic storytelling, The Simpsons continue to blur the line between fiction and reality. Some predictions were spot on, others wildly exaggerated. But one thing's for sure, this cartoon knows how to keep us guessing. If you enjoyed the breakdown, hit like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments which prediction shocked you the most.